What is happening, everybody, and welcome back to another episode on our 2003 Mazda Protege5. So we've had this car now for a little over 6 months, and it has been fantastic as a daily. Now, when we first got it, it was having some issues, some oil leaks, and a few parts that were just worn out due to age, but nothing we weren't able to go ahead and get buttoned up on it. So what is it like driving a 2003 Mazda Protege5 in 2026? Well, long answer short, it is awesome. First off, you don't see these really driving around anywhere, at least where I'm at. And second, it's basically like if a front-wheel drive Miata was made into a wagon. I mean, this thing is incredibly fun to cruise around town and not get pulled over all the time because you're breaking the speed limit. I mean, this thing is peppy, it's fun, it's fantastic up in the canyons, and it's awesome to be able to go and get groceries. So I wanted to show you guys underneath the hood, show you some of the stuff that we've done to it to help keep it reliable. So underneath the hood here, we have our 2.0 liter FSDE engine. Now this thing is incredibly reliable. It is a timing belt, not a timing chain. It's definitely something you want to look into if you're picking one of these up. Another thing I would recommend, which I have not done yet, is relocating your coil packs using the 1.6 liter setup. Now that 1.6 liter setup will move those coil packs over to there and just prevents them from getting heat soaked. They have a problem where they will get heat soaked and crack because they sit on top of the valve cover. Not only that, but I think it looks a lot cleaner, especially if you run the 1.6 liter valve cover. I think it looks awesome. Some of the things that I did to just help keep this thing on the road, I went ahead and updated our grounds. So you can see I went ahead and got them all nice and cleaned up. And then I went ahead and put a slightly larger gauge on the one that runs over to our battery terminal here. I also went ahead and upgraded our battery terminals. When I first got it, there was lots of corrosion on here and they were all worn away and broken. So went ahead and got them cleaned up, cut the wires back, went ahead and installed these. These work great. These are 4 audio systems, but I really do like the options to have a couple extra things come out. So if you ever want to add anything later, you have all of the provisions there to do it. Went ahead and did a no-name intake off of eBay. Worked out pretty great, fairly inexpensive. Just these couplers are a little cheap, so definitely something I would look into upgrading in the future. I also went ahead and have an HKS high power filter here. This does have a velocity stack inside, which is pretty cool. Sounds nice. Doesn't really add a whole lot of horsepower to this thing, but it does make it sound really cool, especially if you're cruising in the canyons. I did go ahead and put some DNA header on here. I wrapped it, but unfortunately today when I was cleaning in here, I fucking ruined it because I pressure washed the top side of it and I hit it with too high of a jet and just tore it. So I'm gonna have to go back in here and redo those eventually, but that's no big deal. Did also go ahead and do a Spawan aluminum radiator. Now this thing did come with some cooling fans and shroud, which is really nice. I have them just wired in to our factory connectors. Went ahead and did our thermostat and thermostat gasket while we were in here as well. Now we are running some water wetter in here, which does help keep it nice and cool. Got both of our drive belts done. Obviously, we went ahead and did a timing belt kit on here. In our previous video, you can see that we got those knocked out, along with our valve cover gasket, our head gasket, oil pan gasket, front and rear main seals. So it'd be like your crank seal on the front, your rear main seal on the transmission side, where the flywheel bolts up. Also did both camshaft seals, just due to age. You know, these things are notorious for leaking and stuff. We did also go ahead and replace our timing cover plastics since ours were all swollen up because of the contamination from the oil and some of the coolant. Did go ahead also and replace all 4 injectors. It was something that I didn't really need to do, but it definitely helped out since when I pulled the other ones off, you could see that they were visibly clogged. So instead of having a nice fine mist, they were just kind of spraying out. So it was running a little bit rough. I did also go ahead and come in here and do all the new motor and transmission mounts. The ones that were in here were just worn away, so you know we had to make sure we got those replaced. You can see those are nice and new all the way around. Now eventually we will upgrade these with like a polyurethane just to have a little bit stiffer, but that'll be later on if this does get boosted. You know, we just for now want to keep it a nice comfortable daily, and so far it's been fantastic. We've done a full brake fluid and clutch fluid flush when I went ahead and did the brake soft lines, And then I also did new pads and rotors recently. Nothing too crazy, just some stop techs, but for now it'll be just fine until we go with a big brake kit. So that's all buttoned up there. Obviously we have newer tires on it too, and I did go ahead and clean up these headlights. When I first got them, they were super yellow, so this one's a little hazy still. This one looks pretty decent, but for the most part, headlights are pretty cheap. I think they're like 175 bucks on eBay to replace them, so maybe I'll go that route one day in the future. Now inside here, this thing is awesome. I do love the interior. It's all leather. Now we do have the slick top, so there's no sunroof, which I think is pretty cool. And we are a 5-speed manual transmission there. Now the inside of this thing is incredibly clean. Back seats, really fresh. I don't think anybody's hardly ever sat back here. And then here in the front, we have ourselves a nice cockpit style here. So I do like the Mazda steering wheel. I like the center console area, and I really do like where the double din sits. Think it's great. It does kind of date the vehicle a little bit, but honestly, with the interior the way it is, I mean, it's just such a comfortable, fun ride. I wanted to switch these seats. I actually have a set of bucket seats at home for this thing, and it's nice. The bolster on these leather seats are great. It's super comfortable. So why don't we hop in here and kind of go over some of the things inside. So inside, like I said, you get a nice steering wheel. Now this kind of reminds me of our old Mazda Speed 3 steering wheel. We had a second gen, 2012. This kind of feels a lot similar to that. I do like the center stack here. It does have the faux carbon on each side, and really a lot of room in here to go ahead with an aftermarket double din if you wish. I kind of like the radio. It works great. I'm not really a big radio guy anyway in my car. I kind of like to hear it, so you know, this is fine for now. Eventually we might upgrade it with something maybe with maps or whatever, but pretty standard in here. I move my coffee out of the way. We have ourselves our cigarette lighter here and a nice ashtray, which is pretty cool. I did go ahead and do an HKS 90s style shift boot in here. I just think it's really cool. It does come with a Cobb shift knob as well. It's weighted. And then, you know, we just have our standard e-brake right here. Chrome trim copping off of this a little bit, but definitely something I'm going to look into recovering. And then you get yourself a nice little armrest in here, which does currently have a Bluetooth transmitter in there, so that if we feel like listening to something on our phone, we definitely can. Over here we have some more leather and our glove box, which is pretty cool. Nice and deep in there, but not a whole lot going on as far as the aftermarket accessories in there go. For the most part, just super clean, really nice dash, no issues there, no cracking, so I really am happy with that. We're sitting currently at 210,670 miles. Now I've put about 10,670 of those miles on this thing, and I'll tell you what, it has been a blast every single mile. This thing is incredibly fun to drive. Have all our climate controls right here. It's pretty standard. These things pop off so easy, really easy to wrap or recolor your center console. And then why don't we hop over to the back seats so I can show you guys what it looks like back there. So back here you can see that there is plenty of leg room, and the back is just as clean as the front. Now these seats in the front are scooched back pretty far. I'm 6'1" and I have no problem sitting in here, so definitely plenty of leg room in here. An actual usable hatch you can put your friends in. I mean, it's fantastic. Why don't we hop over to the back? There's not a whole lot going on back here. You know, we have our lock control here, our handles, our grab. We have a little tiny pocket, but that's really it. It's bare bones. There is no map pocket on the back of the driver or the passenger side, which is the first time I've seen that. Normally there is something there, but kind of like the setup on these. I think that it just gives you a cleaner, smoother look. So why don't we hop over to the back and I'll show you guys the storage. So back here in the hatch area, you have plenty of room. I mean, you can store so much back here. I have easily put snowboards, skis, totes, tons of things back here, furniture. I mean, this is definitely a grocery getter, so all the room for your groceries. Now this is cool because it does hook up here, but you can also go ahead and just drop it down if you'd like. and that kind of keeps everything protected from the sun back here. You do have also a connector here for if you have a child safety seat, but plenty of room back here, tons of space up and down to go ahead and put things in here. But these seats folded, the bottom portion actually flips up and then the top portion folds down into that. You can easily fit, I mean, I fit giant bean bags back here, I fit furniture before, dressers, I mean all kinds of stuff. There's tons of space back here, and I really do enjoy it. So it's a versatile grocery getter that is super fun to drive around town and in the canyons. So what would some of the cons be about driving a 23-year-old car in 2026? Well, as far as the car itself goes, there are none. This thing is fantastic to drive. There are plenty of parts that you can get readily available. Parts from the regular Protege, the 626, and a few others work on this Mazda Protege5. So it is definitely something that can be easily repaired, and it's very inexpensive, especially if you can do the work yourself. These engines and transmissions and the whole vehicle in general is just incredibly easy to work on. So I'd have to say that it's definitely a beginner friendly, entry level, canyon carving, grocery getting daily driver, which is what everybody's looking for the most part. So the only real gripes with the Mazda Protege or Mazda Protege5 is there's not very many aftermarket options for power adders. You can go ahead and run a Mazda Speed Protege setup in here, since this is the same 2.0 liter FSDE that comes in the Mazda Speed version, just minus the turbo. However, even with that, you're only going to be looking at right around a little over 300, maybe 350 before you start to have reliability issues or issues internally with the engine, since even the Mazda Speed version of the Protege doesn't make a whole lot of big power. Now you can always go with a swap from, let's say, a Mazda Speed 3. If you want to go direct injected, you could do a K-Series in here if you like that Honda platform. You could also go ahead and boost this 2.0 liter FSDE and just throw a bunch of custom parts at it. But honestly, for us, I think having it NA for now is definitely something that we're going to stick with. I mean, it runs, it drives, it starts every time. And honestly, I just think it's a great around town car. So why don't we go take this thing for a spin and wrap this video up. Now, one of my favorite parts about daily driving the Protege5 has just got to be how smooth it is around town. Now, this thing has all factory suspension as of right now, so no coilovers, no upgraded sway bar head links, none of that. But this thing is just an absolute ripper. I mean, not in the sense that it's super fast, but just in the sense that, like, you can just play around with it and just have fun and be doing the speed limit, which I think is what everybody really wants out of a fun daily. Like, don't get me wrong, I do like high power cars. We've definitely built a few, but something about being able to hop into a vehicle and just go anywhere and have fun, I mean, that's a huge bonus for me, especially being a 23-year-old car. It's hard to believe that this thing is that old, considering I feel like it just came out the other day. Now, not every Protege5 you're going to come across is going to be in the best shape. I've definitely seen some that are in better condition than this, and I've seen some that are definitely in worse condition than this. Now, when we first got this, I'd say we were probably sitting at a cool 5 out of 10 on the condition scale. I'd say now we're probably a little bit closer to 8 out of 10. There's definitely some things we need to do to this. Coils, wheels and tires, big brake kit, some basic suspension components, but nothing too crazy. For the most part, it is as reliable as this thing's gonna get. We've gone through and done everything short of build the bottom end, and I'll definitely have to say that it is paying off. I mean, those couple $1,000s worth of parts and labor are going to keep this thing on the road for so much longer. So I guess the real question is, would I buy a Mazda Protege 5 in 2026? Well, the short answer, yeah. I think they're awesome. Fantastic dailies, and definitely something great if you're looking to get into an entry-level hot hatch. Well, I appreciate everybody watching. Thank you so much for following along so far on this build. We're going to call it a wraps today, but we do have some parts in the mail for this thing that hopefully will be arriving this coming week. Definitely will be nice. We do have 2 different sets of wheels and tires we're going to be test fitting on this, along with some coilovers, which I'm very excited about. We do also have a sway bar, some sway bar end links, as well as some rear links for this thing. So I am looking forward to finally getting around to some suspension mods, and then hopefully getting a crank on some body work. Till the next time, guys, peace out, and I'll catch you in the next one.